world full of Uniteds.
It is a magic moment from Heung-min Son!
Cities.
Through to Lucas Moura!
And Rovers.
Harry Kane! Oh, what a goal!
There is only one Hotspur.
It's glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the One Hotspur podcast. I'm Tobey from _Spurs Center, and today I'm joined by Max from the Hotspur News and Bodhi from Hotspur.industry. How you guys doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. Today, we're recording straight after the result against Aston Villa, our 2-0 win. But unfortunately, we do have to start things off with reviewing our 3-0 loss to Dinamo Zagreb in the midweek fixture. So just a real lack of just drive and general ambition from the side in that game. Max, we'll start with you. Just general thoughts.
I'll tell you what, and this may shock you, but that was probably the worst performance I've ever seen from a Tottenham side. I mean, bottling's like always been in our DNA, but the fact that the thing is, like, we were 2-0 up from the first leg. All we had to do is go there and score one goal, and the tie is done, isn't it? Because then they have to score 4 goals, because obviously we get the clean sheet in the first leg.
Yeah.
But it's the most typical Spurs thing, isn't it, to lose 3-0 in the second leg to the lowest ranked team remaining in the competition. Now, I'm telling you, It was the worst performance I've ever seen from a Tottenham side, and that's saying something, because I've seen some shocking ones over the years. For example, there was a Brighton earlier in the season, the Dortmund derby last week, but this was just something else. Like you said, like, there was no passion whatsoever from the players. It was just so saddening to watch.
Yeah, it was really disheartening. And yeah, I mean, just going off what you were saying, like, just no drive, no one was playing for the badge. And so a lot of heat came down on Mourinho. So on our Instagram at One Hotspur Pod, if you don't follow it already, we asked people to comment their thoughts on Mourinho. And more than a few commented Mourinho out or Mourinho go. From Sean and Claire 55, P.U.L.I_20, and David KO0826 all commented basically the same thing. And Jack_FRSER commented the same thing with less PG words. But I mean, you can't lose 3-0 to Dinamo Zagreb and not expect people to come after your job. But what were your thoughts after the game on Mourinho?
I'll tell you what, I went in hard on Mourinho, because obviously, there's no excuses for losing 3-0 to Dinamo Zagreb. But then the following morning, I had to look at it again, and that result was fully based off the players, because I'm looking at this the same thing for the derby last weekend. I'm looking at Mourinho and Sacramento on the touchline, and they're both literally screaming at the players to press them, push forward, and none of the players are doing what they're saying. So it kind of shows that Mourinho wants them to play attacking football, get that goal, get the job done, bring in the likes of Dane Scarlett, etc., give them some game time. But instead, the players want to just jockey. They don't want to press the ball whatsoever. And I can't lie, after the game, especially I went in hard on Jose Mourinho purely because the players weren't playing for him. I don't think his tactics were anything to do with the game, because we actually attacked during the game, but we were so slow going forward. But then the following morning, I had a look at it, and it's 100% the players. Like, apart from maybe Harry Kane and Lloris, literally, okay, maybe Sanchez as well, because especially in the first half, he was immense. But I didn't see one Spurs player who looked to, I'd say, threaten Zagreb, because for me, Europa League was the biggest chance we had to qualify for the Champions League next season, and it's just so embarrassing that no player wants to fight for that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Going back to the comments, sorry, it lagged for a second, but one says, Mr. Levy, sack Jose, fresh start next season, young hungry manager with a clue with how to play football. And I think, basically the same thing. And then Maxime Piazzi agreed with you, Max, and he said, yes, Jose is partly to blame, but you have to look at the players on the pitch. No desire, no passion. They aren't playing for Jose at the moment. And I mean, it's scarily reminiscent of how the team played under Poch in his final weeks and final games. And you just can't expect to move forward as a club, sacking managers, but keeping the same players who obviously don't care. They don't have the same amount of drive. They don't play for the badge. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, especially in the game against Dinamo Zagreb. If we had 2 or 3 players who, for the whole 120 minutes, just played for the badge, you have to think that we would have gone through. I mean, it was a much more talented squad that Mourinho played than the team that we faced.
That just shows that it wasn't fully Pochettino's fault that got him sacked because you notice it's the same players who underperformed for Poch. These are the same players who are now underperforming for Mourinho, the likes of Eric Dyer. He underperformed for Poch, and he's doing the same under Mourinho. So it shows that no matter what happens with Mourinho, if he gets sacked, even if we bring Nagelsmann now, things will never change until we get this deadwood out of the club. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think this summer Daniel Levy has a huge job on his hands to clear out the deadwood of the squad and then bring in some people that are young and hungry and ready to really challenge for things. And I mean, maybe some would call it a step backwards to sign players that are younger, maybe don't have as much experience. But I think at this point, we really need to be building something. If that's under Mourinho, I'm okay with it. If it's under a new manager, I think there's a lot of pressure on Mourinho to finish the season well. But after today's result against Aston Villa, 2-0 win, we're only 3 points off of the top 4. We don't have a very difficult run-in. I mean, our hardest remaining game is against Man United. And then other than that, Aston Villa or Everton would be our hardest our hardest matches. And we just beat Aston Villa today. So we definitely have more than a chance of qualifying for the Champions League. And it's going to come down to whether or not the players that Mourinho ends up picking have the passion and have the desire.
You are right. Yeah, you are right with the fact that we are in contention. Of course we are. Obviously, we're 1 behind West Ham now. We're 3 behind Chelsea, and we've all played the same games, etc.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you look at the teams around us, at the moment, Chelsea look like they're not going to slip whatsoever. So at the same time, we've got to win our games. All we can do is focus on ourselves. But at the same time, we just got to hope that teams around us, like your Leicesters, like your Chelseas, like your Aston Villas, just drop points, and therefore that you can get you in those top 4 places.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to come down, like I was saying, it's going to come down to the players that were playing and whether or not they're gonna fight for the badge. And we are just getting joined by Charlie from CB Design to help us review, late as always. And yeah, continuing with the review, going back to the comments again, just so everyone feels that they've been recognized. Yozinho 27, Jose needs to get the boot blood. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of comments in here. Spurs _information is basically saying the same thing. Max Wilson 640, worst performance that I've ever seen. And then from Tay with 4Ys _J11, people are complaining about that lineup. And that sort of lineup of professional players should beat a team like Dynamo. It was disgraceful. And then from Furin, terrible shite. So yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how much else we can say about that, but embarrassing. And we needed the players to show a response, and I think that's a good transition into the game today. Rotated lineup from Mourinho, seeing some players we haven't seen in a while, and they got the result. Were you happy with the team that played today, Max?
Yeah, I think Mourinho particularly based this lineup off players who fight for the badge, because going back to what I was saying about the players not even giving a shit against Zagreb, I think Mourinho's taken note of that and put in players such as Rodon, Tanganga, Lucas Moura, who always give 100%.
I mean,
Like I know Lamella
I mean, I
suspended and
agree with
everything.
you, but
Mhm.
I agree with you, but like you put players like who were really bad against Dinamo, like Ndombele, and I mean,
Well,
partly you're right, but I mean, I think he just went out on a limb and put in like young, fresh players. I mean, yes,
Mm.
who are going
Yeah,
to
true.
fight.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah, true. Like, I mean, you're not wrong, but at the same time, I guess we did have to have still like a bit of quality in there, such as
Yeah.
in Ndombele, Harry Kane, etc. Like, although they were poor, but
Mhm.
yeah, like fresh new players. I thought Tanganga was absolutely
He
exceptional.
was massive.
People gonna go on about Lucas Moura and Sanchez as their man of the matches, and
Mhm.
the fact that Højbjerg was brilliant and Ndombele does what he does, but I think Tanganga was a performance that is not going to be looked at. Like I thought he was absolutely astonishing today. I think Sanchez had Watkins in his pocket the whole game. I don't think
Mhm.
Watkins got a sniff. Go back to Tanganga. Do you remember that block he made from Ross Barkley
I was
in
just
like the
gonna say,
80th minute?
yeah.
That shot was going right in the corner as well. Like that
Mhm.
that was a very vital block. I thought he had a brilliant game today, Tanganga.
I think that's something about Tanganga. I think that's a really like big part of his game is he is constantly laying his body on the line per blocking shots, and I think a majority of the games he comes up with 2 or 3 just huge blocks for us. But yeah, Bodhi, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I agree with you. Tanganga was fantastic, to put it simply. But there was a few times I saw him getting caught out. It was like I feel like he played extremely well after the first goal, but before the first goal, like the rest of the team, we were shaky, all the rest of that, and there was a few times where the nerves were all over the place, and he got caught out a couple times. So I feel like it's about him gaining. If he's getting started more often, which I believe he should after that game, if he's getting started more often, he'll start to, get a bit of confidence in himself, and he'll be able to settle down into a game quicker. And he could be I could see a lot of potential in the right back spot for him. He's a great player. Yeah, he definitely played well. He got caught out a few times, but I feel like if he can take that out of his game and just play the way he did in the second half for every single game he plays, he could be one of the best right backs in the league, potentially.
And I think one of the other things about Tanganga is he's homegrown and he's English, so I think that's like a big part of like the like foreign players that we have a lot of issues with. And Doherty and Aurier, if I'm not mistaken, they both count as foreign players. I know Doherty got his training with Wolves as a youngster, but I don't know if he counts as a foreign player. But either way, I mean, it's important to have players like that in the squad. And he's a really good player. I mean, he plays for the badge. He knows what it's like. I think he grew up in North London, so he definitely has that experience. And like we were saying earlier, I mean, he plays for the badge, and that's what really is setting him aside from our other players right now.
Yeah, I think so going back to what you were saying, Tobey, about Tanganga as a defender who puts his body on the line. That is actually very true, because it's similar to what Sanchez does. And I think we need more of that. Like, we need more of those players who literally put their body on the line to prevent the other team scoring. Because you're seeing with players like Dyer who just stand still or don't really like put his body on the line. And it therefore results in the opposition like scoring a goal.
Yeah.
Like, we need more of these defenders such as Tanganga and Sanchez, who for me, like, gets their timing right, is physical, very aggressive with defending. Like, obviously, I don't mean aggressive as like get a yellow card or give away a penalty. I'm talking about aggressive with like their heading, like their distribution, everything. So yeah, we need more.
I think Højbjerg is a good example of being aggressive but being smart.
Yeah,
and I think one of Sanchez.
Sorry,
go ahead, Bodhi. Go ahead.
Well, right. Well, I feel like the big thing about Højbjerg today, which made him stand out to a lot of players, is that usually he's very tame and passive, but I feel like this game he must have something with Rodin Tanganga. He must trust them a lot, because it seems like when a holding midfielder trusts their centre backs, he can be more aggressive with the tackle, with the challenge, and when he's more aggressive, even if he loses it, he knows he's got reliable centre backs behind him to be able to clear the ball. And obviously, like I said, nerves were shaky in the first half, and I believe Højbjerg was the same as well. But after the first goal and everything started to settle down, I feel like he started to gain a bit of confidence in the back line. So he felt confident to play the way he wanted to play, and then he was making fantastic challenges, winning the ball up, pressing high. He was playing extremely well. He wasn't playing passive and tame like recent performances.
Yeah.
He played with purpose, and he played like he wanted to win the ball with every single challenge he done. And I think he's the same. It's the same with him every single game. He's one of our most consistent players on the pitch week in, week out. It's the sense of if he trusts the centre backs or not. I believe based on that game, I feel like that's a defensive lineup we should look into a lot more to play games, because if you have Højbjerg playing the way he's playing, getting aggressive in the challenge and trusting the defense behind him, he's going to feel a lot more confident on the ball and off the ball, to make that challenge, like I was saying before. So it's a sense of if Højbjerg is one of the best holding midfielders in the Prem. It's just a sense of if he has the confidence in the centre backs to make the challenge, then he will make that challenge. And I think after what I've seen with that defensive performance, I feel like from what I'm getting the impression that Højbjerg is starting to trust the defense a lot more from that game. So if he just keeps on doing what he done, and we keep rolling with that defense, I can't be complaining. I mean, 2-0 against Villa. I mean, Villa's a tough team. Like, Villa's not an easy team by any means.
No. Before today's game, I think it was you, Bodhi, who was talking about it in our group chat. But before today's game, they had the second best defense in the league, and now we have the second best defense in the league, tied with them. But I mean, we carved them open. I mean, Vinicius, I think, was the one who originally was pressing on that long ball. And then it was a poor clearance, which Lucas Moura pressed onto, and then played a 1-2 with Kane, and then laid it across the face of the goal from Vinicius to just tap home. And it was, I think today might have been the best game that Spurs have played this season. Or maybe not the best game, but like especially the final 20 minutes maybe, it was every single ball Spurs were on top. We were winning every second ball, knocking the ball around.
Come on. I mean, that's a bit of an over-exaggeration. Best game of the season. That is definitely
that's why I said not the whole game. Not the whole game.
I think it was one of our best games this season, but like it wasn't our best. But I think it was one of our better games. I think Villa didn't create any clear-cut chances apart from the Barkley chance, which Tanganga made the block. I mean, first half they had this like 15-minute spell before Vinicius scored, but they didn't do much of it. All they did was just similar to the Arsenal 2-0, innit? It's just like crossing into the box and we head out. It's like going back to the time we were top of the league. Like teams just cross it in, we head it out. And I think Villa, Villa like looked like they were going to threaten, but I think their decision making in the final third was very poor. Like I know we defended well, but at the same time, I think their passing and like moments they could have had a shot, they passed it instead. I think Villa's decision making was poor as well as our defending was good.
Yeah, I think.
Also, what I wanted to mention.
Go for it.
Can I just say something? So I remember Bodhi and actually I think me as well said that Ndombele is one of the most overrated. Like he's really overrated. I think he's proven us wrong today. And also I wanted to point. So I haven't really talked much, so I just have a few points if I've missed a few times to say something. So basically, Tanganga really impressed me. The way he moved forward with the ball and the pace he can move with the ball is very impressive. And also, I wanted to say Højbjerg was, for me, pretty average or maybe even disappointing until the last 30 minutes. And then he started winning the ball, passing great. But I must admit, recently has been a bit sloppy with his passing and stuff.
Yeah.
But if he plays like he did in the last 30 minutes, then he can be really good. And also, what I wanted to point out, I was as you saw in the group chat before the podcast, I was talking with some very negative Spurs fans, and like I understand that people don't believe that we'll get top four, and I probably won't get top four, but 3 points is really not that much. And also, like you pointed out that 15 minutes in the first half before the Vinicius goal where we didn't really create much, and a lot of people said that we got dominated on during those 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call. How can you be dominated on if they can't have a shot until the 58th minute?
Yeah, there wasn't a single shot from Villa in the first half. I mean,
Yeah.
that's very impressive defending. I mean, to not even allow them to have a shot, like, let alone a shot on target, that's very, very impressive defending, in my opinion.
And can we just take in that, I mean, excluding obviously Lloris, the average age of today's defense is like 22.5 or 23 or something.
Mm-hmm.
That is impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Rodon was probably, I mean, Tanganga was probably the most impressive, but definitely Rodon was really impressive in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, Reguilon isn't badly injured because that didn't look very good. Hopefully, I think he's got like I think he just hit his ankle a bit. Hopefully it isn't swollen. Hopefully it isn't swollen. I mean, Davis wasn't even that bad when he came on though.
Mm-mm.
But I don't think we want to see too much of Mr. Average for the rest of the season, do we?
Yeah. Bodhi, what were you gonna say? Bodhi? All right, well.
Apologies. Sorry. What I was gonna say. I forgot what I was gonna say. Nah, but I was just thinking of something there. Yeah, I forgot.
We'll come back to you. Going back to the top four hunt though, I do tend to get carried away with myself when it comes to how high up Spurs can finish in the league. But we have, I think we were talking about this a little earlier on the podcast. We have Man United left to play it, and that's the only traditional Big Six team we have left. And then our next hardest games are probably Everton and Aston Villa, who Aston Villa we beat today, and Everton have gotten the better of us on 2 occasions this season, but we can still definitely take points off of them. And then Chelsea
I am actually pretty confident ahead of it.
Mm-hmm. And then Chelsea has West Ham, Man City, Arsenal, Leicester, and Aston Villa to play before the end of the season. And West Ham has Chelsea, Leicester, Everton left to play until the end of the season. So there's definitely opportunities for us. As long as we win the games we're supposed to, we could definitely hit top 4. And then at that point, I don't think Mourinho should be sacked. But that's a matter for another debate.
Yeah, I never thought Mourinho should have been
sacked. I don't really know. I'm not sure about Mourinho out or in anymore because it's it's really hard question if you ask me. Like, I don't want him out and I don't want him in. I don't know how to explain. Yeah. Basically, today's proved that there are some players that are actually willing to play for him. Mm-hmm. So if he can keep playing these players, and if we can keep winning, and somehow get top 4, do we want him out? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, if we get top 4, that is what he. If we get top 4 and win the EFL Cup, which is unlikely.
How about Cup?
Yeah, if we win the Cup and we get in top 4, that is exactly what Mourinho was brought in to achieve. That is exactly what we brought him in for. And then how do you sack someone for achieving what we expected from him?
If we win top 4 and win the Carabao Cup, a season than any of Poch's seasons, obviously, statistically and games-wise, it's not. But if you look at the achievements,
yeah, we definitely accomplished.
I'm actually, a lot has changed in this performance since. I don't know. The last podcast, we were both of us were Jose out, and it's even, just one game. I know this Aston Villa game is one game, and knowing Spurs will probably lose really badly to Man U or something. But let's just hope, because those players really did look solid today. One of the most consistent.
Yeah, it was definitely one of our best performances.
If we can go with that confidence into the Newcastle game and thrash Newcastle, 3 against Man U, I can definitely see top 4 being likely,
And sorry, we'll get to you in 1 second, Bodhi. I just wanted to make the comment on Newcastle. They are not on a very good run of form. The last game they won was at the beginning of February, and since then they've lost 3 and drawn 3. So, dare I say, we should win that game. But yeah, Bodhi, what were you going to say? Oh, boy.
No, no. What I'm saying is, I never, it was never in doubt for me. I'm always Jose in till
Never in doubt.
No, I was never in doubt. Even after that game, I just thought, how can you be so retarded to blame Jose? Like the only thing I would blame Jose is the team selection. I was like, it's like,
yeah, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, that is Jose's fault for the team selection.
yeah, but how can you? But I don't get how, like he was going off. He needed a rotated team so then he could play against Villa with with his best players, which he did. And at this rate, it's kind of like I'm kind of glad that we got knocked out of the Europa League because it gives us an opportunity to, play, just once a week. We can play our strongest side and they won't get tired because they have a full week to recover for the next game. We can take it one game at a time. And like and for me personally, I feel like top four, even if we don't win the Carabao Cup, I'm fine with that because if we can get top five, this team we're still building boundaries, and I think next season will be a big turning point for us in a positive way. You got Skip Sessegnon come back, a lot of deadwood will be clear, Sissoko, Winks.
I think the best thing about next transfer window is that we can sell Ben Davis and Harry Winks or Oliver Skip and have replacements already coming back in Ryan Sessegnon and Oliver Skip. So that'll free up some funds for us to spend. And then depending on who else Mourinho opts to trust, I mean, if we trust Tanganga to nail down a starting spot, then we can sell one of Aurier or Doherty without having to sign a replacement. So it really
for me, based on that game solely, I'm already thinking like Aurier and Doherty leave, sign Matty Cash, and integrate Tanganga. That's already in my mind now. And you know me with transfers. I'm very stubborn with transfers. I'm very stubborn with my transfers. Areola. I was very stubborn with Sanchez out until I got persuaded otherwise. James Ward-Prowse. These just players. I'm very stubborn with my transfers. I think I know who we want. I know who we need, and I'm just dead set. I want to make sure I get my point across of why you need that player, and I'll keep saying it so as long as people disagree. Honestly, it's like I feel like Matty Cash. I never really saw him before, so I never really knew how good he was. But after that game, despite what happened with Moura, that's probably one of Moura's best games, to be clear.
Yeah.
I was very impressed by Matty Cash today. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But I mean, we want to win trophies. I think we want to go for more of a world-class player than Matty Cash. I'm sorry. I mean,
but Matty Cash is statistically the best right back in the league, and he's homegrown. He's better than Max Aarons.
Well, I guess
but
Matty Cash has more experience than Max Aarons. However, something to consider is that Matty Cash. Oh, never mind. I thought Matty Cash was like 28. Matty Cash is only 23, so that would actually be a pretty good option. This is his first season in the Prem, and I mean he has done pretty well. He has 2 assists. He has a pretty high average match rating, which statistics aren't everything, but I thought he had a pretty good game today. And from what I've seen from Villa in the past, I mean, he whips crosses in quite well. And I'm surprised he actually only has 2 assists this season. But I think it was Bodhi saying earlier that he had some of the best defensive statistics out of all the right backs this season. So he's definitely an option to consider. But I honestly think Levy's a stubborn guy. And I don't think he'll admit that he was wrong with the Doherty signing in 1 year. So I could definitely see Levy trying to keep Doherty for at least one more season to see if his fortunes turn around. Because he did the same thing with Tanguy and Ndombele. And that turned out very well. So we'll see how it goes. But I think Aurier only has 12 months left on his contract this summer. So and he doesn't seem like he wants to sign a new one.
I wanted to mention what Bodhi said was very interesting when he mentioned that maybe it's not a bad thing that we went out the Europa League, and I totally agree with him. I said the same thing to my dad at halftime of tonight's game. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but maybe this can really help us focus on the league, and because I do not want to be in the Europa League next season. As I said in the last pod, I think it's an absolute waste of players and energy. unless you get to the final, it's not really worth it. And even if you win it, it's really not that big. So obviously a trophy is a trophy for us, but all these Spurs fans are so desperate for trophies. I understand it. I am as well. I mean, I was so happy when I just saw us lift the beautiful Audi Cup.
But take it one day at a time.
And those the same fans that I was talking about before were all like, "Oh, the stadium was a big mistake. We're now in 1 billion depth, and all that we want is a trophy."
Yeah,
and
I mean,
it will be a few painful years. It will be a few painful years where we won't go for the biggest players, but just give it time. And with that stadium, we will be winning trophies. There's no doubt about it. So
yeah,
I think if we can get top four this year, or
it would be an absolute scandal if we
and Carabao
achieved
Cup
top
would
four
be
this
great as
season.
well. Yeah, I know, but it would just be amazing.
Yeah.
But if we did get top, and then sell some of these players, like if we got rid of, I don't know, Dyer, we won't get rid of Doherty, as you said, probably. But if we sold Dyer, Hugo, maybe, and
Serge.
like some of these players, and then bought a right back, a centre back, maybe a goalie, and we'll see what happens with Vinicius. But if we can get a stable, because this season, one of our biggest problems is Jose has constantly been rotating the squad. He's never found his true starting 11, which has proved to be a big problem. So if we can get a good starting 11 next season, who can start consistently, I can see us getting, maybe having a really good season next season. You never know.
I think, like you were saying on the Europa League, I think that's been a big part of why we haven't seen a consistent starting 11. Is because of it's because of the Europa League. I mean, because we've had to play Kane in the midweek, we've had to play Son in the midweek, and then sometimes we've been rotating our center backs a lot throughout the midweek. And to be honest, I mean, I could see us going for the remainder of the season and just playing that Reguilon, Rodon, Sanchez, Tanganga back four, and then maybe sometimes switching up to having Alderweireld in the back four, and rotating between Sanchez, Rodon, and Tanganga. Sanchez, Rodon, and Alderweireld as center backs. I would be okay with that. I think Rodon would be able to learn a lot from Alderweireld. I think Sanchez would be able to learn a lot from Alderweireld, and I think even Tanganga could learn a lot from Alderweireld. And we've seen how solid Reguilon can be at the left back, and so hopefully he's not out for very long. But yeah, Bodhi, go ahead.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I mean, the centre backs, it's all young. There's lots of room to grow as a team, especially with all the youth coming in. You got Sefton Young, Skip, all them lot. It's definitely it's a very positive feeling at the club at the minute, especially after that 2-0 win. A way to bounce back from the game. A way to bounce back from Thursday, sorry. And yeah, I forgot what I was going to say before, but I'm just trying to backtrack now because I have nothing else to say.
Something to consider, though, just throwing out a scenario for you guys, is we were talking a little bit about this before the pod, but at the beginning of the season, if someone would have told you before the Reguilon, Bale, and Vinicius signings, before we'd even played against Everton, if someone had told you after 29 games, Spurs would be 3 points off the top four, and Harry Kane would be top goal scorer and have the most assists, would you be happy?
Wait, is Kane top goal scorer now? Yeah. I mean, level with Salah, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I would. Well, I think the bigger thing there is if someone told you at the start of the season that would be ahead of Liverpool, like 4 points or no, how? Yeah. If you
something like that.
If someone told you that, you'd go like, what? Like you'd think we're top of the league. So I mean, it's been a crazy season. Obviously, not the best season by any means. A lot of humiliations, but also, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It all depends on the next few weeks. Literally, every game changes stuff because, like, 1 week ago, we were all happy after those two. We thought Bale was back, and we were. If we won our 2 games in hand, we'd be on the same points as Chelsea at 4th. Then a disgraceful week out of the Europa, lost to Arsenal. Everything's gone downhill. Now a good win, a totally changed team. Everything's changing so quickly. So we just need to give it a bit of time, and we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there.
It's definitely changing a lot. Sorry, do you want to talk, Toby?
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, the team's definitely changing a lot lately. I mean, some negative, some positive. But I'm not. I don't know if I should be saying this because I don't want to cause any trouble by saying this.
Oh boy.
It is a
Back to
bit
Bodhi's
controversial.
controversial opinions.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's something I don't really fancy getting into an argument over it, so I might keep quiet unless
Here, just throw it out there, and we'll see
Okay,
whether or
well,
not we get into an argument.
I think based on this game, it started as just a thought of maybe he's had a few bad performances, but maybe he'll come back. But after that game, it's kind of making me start to think, maybe we should look to sell Son.
Oh boy.
It's like
here we go again.
All right.
It's just
we're not going to start an argument on this one again.
I know, but it's just me thinking, like Juventus. There's been rumors of Juventus for 100 mil. I mean, think of what we could get with 100 mil. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just a thought, really. But
again, say there's more chance of Kane leaving than Son. I'm just saying. I don't want him to leave. I don't want either to leave. But I still think Kane would be more sensible than Son. Even though Kane leaving would change the tactics, it would change everything. But we'd get more money, and Kane deserves trophy. I mean, Son deserves trophies as well, but Kane is now one of the best, if not the best player right now.
Yeah, but we're not Harry Kane. We're fans for a football club, and
I know, but what? But you can say the same about Son. Son is a club legend.
But he's not one of the world's best.
I don't think we should say much more on this before before we get into a full blown out argument here. But I think just looking at it by the facts, we could get a lot from the money from Son. However, we'd have a big gap to fill. But I mean, today we played without Son and we won 2-0. So it wouldn't be the end of the world if we did lose Son. And we would have a lot of options, but obviously we would love to keep him. But something similar would be this summer, if Real Madrid activate Reguilón's buyback clause and he does elect to go back to the Spanish capital, we would have quite a sum of money to spend. And we would have Sessegnon come back and he would probably be our first choice left back. And that would probably mean we'd keep Ben Davis as a backup. But what would you guys think about having 45 million to spend?
I mean, do I think? I mean, I'm not doubting, right? I'm not down this. I think Reguilón it's a fantastic player, but if Real Madrid, right, it'll be a huge loss because of how important he's been. And I don't think Sessegnon is ready for first team football anyways. I think he's better suited as a backup for Reguilón. But for me personally, it'd just be like if 45 million for Reguilón to return to Madrid. I mean, if Real Madrid came knocking for 45 million for Reguilón, I would honestly take that. I feel
Who would you invest in as a replacement?
I mean, for me personally, I would like to. I don't really have anyone in mind because it's not Reguilón's not a player I want to sell. I'll be selling.
Reguilón's not is irreplaceable for that kind of money. Think about it. So, yes, the club is in a lot of debt because of the stadium and because of Corona, but I'm sure we can buy like one or two players in the summer, decent ones. So the thing is, as Tobey said, Skip and Sessegnon are coming back from loan. So, in my eyes, this club might actually not need too many transfers to be a top four club next season. Because think about this. We need a centre-back, a right-back, and maybe a goalie, depending on what happens with Luis. And, Vinicius as well. But we'll see what happens with Vinicius. But basically, if we can somehow muster up 60, 65 million next summer, that's enough for right-back, centre-back, and potentially a decent backup striker. And I mean, Sessegnon's coming back. Skip will be great in the midfield. So think about it. I mean, I don't think we need to.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting two essentially new signings coming to the team next year. And there's been a lot of reports about how happy everyone at Spurs is with Skip's progress. And before his injury, I'm not entirely sure how much he's been playing recently, but before his injury, Ryan Sessegnon was getting quite a few minutes and he was playing quite well. and he's just come back, and he hasn't played a ton since he's returned, but he has played a bit, and I think he would be a very good backup option to have. Maybe Bodhi is right, and he's not ready for first team, but he is an improvement on Ben Davis. But yeah, Bodhi, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like I said, I don't think he's a first team. I don't think he's ready to fill in, that first team role. Like I think he's off for me personally. Davies had a good game today defensively, but I still think he's pretty dog for me personally. He could play for maybe Burnley, but he's just not. He's nowhere near good enough for Spurs. But because Spurs fans are talking about winning trophies, I just don't think Davies is nowhere near that level. And Nathan, I don't think the same for Sessegnon. I think Reguilon could be, potentially, not yet, but I think he definitely could be. Same with Sessegnon, but he's definitely nowhere near that. He's an improvement on Davies, like you said. But I don't really fancy, like I wouldn't if Reguilon were to leave, I wouldn't want Sessegnon to come in and replace him. That's what I'm saying. I feel like he'd be a downgrade.
Yeah, I think we could definitely do better. I think just realistically, what would happen is that essentially. But I think there is options out there like Alex Grimaldo from Benfica, or even someone from the Premier League, like someone like Patrick Van Aanholt. I know I think he's 29, maybe 30. And even if we had shot him for a season or two and let Sessegnon develop, and then brought in Dennis Serkin, who is an academy talent, who is highly rated by Mourinho.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd rather press Aaron Cresswell than Patrick Van Aanholt.
Oh, West Ham wouldn't sell to us.
But I guess so. But I mean, again, I don't think Real Madrid will buy back Reguilon. And I don't think he wants to leave.
As long as Zidane doesn't get sacked.
I don't think we should really be discussing this much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just throwing out a hypothetical.
But I do think there's definitely. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of quality coming in already with Sessegnon and Skip. Skip's gonna completely change the dynamic of our team entirely. Was something I didn't know until now is, although the formation said 4-4-2, we set up a 4-1-2-1-2. Yeah, so we played a diamond, and we had Højbjerg CDM and Ndombele on the left, Lo Celso on the right, and we had more central attacking midfielder, and we had a Kane and Vinicius. That was in the start of the game, and then once Bergwijn came on, it changed to a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond wide, so it was left mid and right mid instead. Well, it changed to a 4-4-2, sorry. And that's when we really started to, get into our own game. And I think the diamond definitely worked very well for the game, at least. It was just a sense of having to get that confidence in the team. And, when you're able to play it the way we were in the final 20, I think that's definitely a confident team. A team that plays the diamond formation has to be playing confidently. And if you're playing confidently, then playing diamond, it's the toughest. It's one of the toughest formations to play. But if you can play it well, then you are definitely a fantastic team. And that's what we done out, and that's what we done out there today, which is why we played so good. The short passing was sweet, simple. It was quick, elegant. It was a mix of everything, and it was extremely professional and impressive football, and a massive improvement of last week, especially defensively as well. Some of the clearances I saw from, the whole team, it was a complete team effort. Everyone was putting their body on the line. It was a beautiful moment to watch, and for this season at least. And if we can carry it on, today's a good day to be a Spurs fan. Let's just put it that way. And and
that's what we used to say a lot at the beginning of the season. I miss that.
And even when we're losing terribly, I still think next season's going to be a great season. I think it will.
Next season will be a good season.
I think it will be a great season. I definitely fancy.
No, but we've said this the last 3 or 4 seasons, mate.
That's true.
But there's so much more going for us for next season than any other season before. You got Skip come back, who's considered one of the best CDMs in he's considered one of the best English CDMs in England. And Sessegnon as well coming back. He'd start to look really bright for us before he went on loan, and look at what he's doing at Hoffenheim.
Yeah.
And then not only that, you're gonna see so much dead wood leaving the club, and you're gonna see,
Hopefully.
and not only that, you're gonna see because Jose Mourinho, he's not gonna keep any of these bad players. They're all going. Like he'll release them if he has to. Like they're all leaving. Then they have no hope. And you'll definitely see Levy give him maybe 30 million plus. You need to sell players to make anything else. But I don't know. It's just I got a feeling like I never have with any other season. So it's going to be bright for the club in the future. And
depends on the manager, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Honestly, no, I don't think so. I think Jose Mourinho is the best manager to do it for us at the minute. I don't think there's anyone that can replace him and do the same job that he can do for us. And people say he plays boring football, but today was a prime example that this was probably one of Spurs' most entertaining games this season. And we done it against a very tough Aston Villa side as well. So it's just a sense of it's all about confidence, and it's definitely very easy. It's definitely very easy to lose your head and bring it down and all the rest of that. But we have a talented squad of players that have so much room to grow. I just don't know if they're at the quality that we need yet. For me personally, I do think while Tanganga had a great game, I do feel like maybe he could go on loan.
Oh no.
No,
Wait, what
I
did
do
you
think
say?
so.
No. Tanganga isn't going on loan. He's.
No,
I do
wait,
see what
no,
you're saying. I
come
do see what you're
on.
saying. I think
He played
Tanganga.
one game.
He does definitely need to grow. But
He's played
I
one
think he should be
game.
getting first. He's our best right back right now. He'll be getting
He's
plenty
never
of Premier
had a
League game
bad
time.
performance in a Spurs shirt except for that one West Ham game when we drew 3-3.
I know. Look, listen, please hear me
He
out.
he didn't even play in that game.
But he's barely played. I mean, I think he's a great player, right? And I just feel like it's just he's a great player, but I just don't know.
Experience.
I just don't think Jose Mourinho is going to give him, so much first team playtime when you have Doughty and Aurier. I feel like he only
because Doherty and Aurier have performed horribly, and Tanganga went out today and he played phenomenally. So if Tanganga isn't starting against Newcastle, I'll be very, very surprised.
No, I honestly, me as well. It's just I want to see all our youngsters succeed, and seeing the way that Sessegnon and Skip have, you can't really blame me for wanting Tanganga to go on loan as well, because I want him, because if he can do the same as what Skip and Sessegnon have been doing, why wouldn't you want all your youngsters to go on loan? You know what I mean?
Yes, but Skip is one. If you ask me, I was going to say this might be controversial now, but in my opinion, Tanganga is the kind of player that matures much quicker than Skip or Sessegnon.
He's also a few years older than him.
Yeah, but just think. I mean, Sessegnon looked really, just a bit awkward when he first came into our squad. He was under pressure,
he was 19.
and Tanganga's the kind of guy. He. I just feel like he's one of our own, and he's just the kind of guy that he can handle the pressure, and he's handled it really well. That's why he started against Liverpool.
Do you want me to tell you why? I'll tell you why. Tanganga was 22 when he broke in the Spurs side. Sessegnon was 19 at 18 when he signed for Spurs. Skip, when he got loaned out, was 19 years old. He's now 20. Sessegnon's now 19, and Tanganga's 23.
Tanganga's 21, mate.
You talk about maturing, right? But he's actually
Tanganga's
older than
21. But he's 21. He's not 23. I was thinking, like, what? He's 21. And if anything, Sessegnon has much more experience. He played in the Championship and in the Premier League for a season. And Tanganga only came for the under-23s. So, I mean,
it is worth considering, though, that Tanganga hasn't hit 10 league appearances. He's definitely a very talented player. I think he's an important player, and I think he should be playing probably the rest of the games this season. But I depending on how much game time he gets for the rest of the season, I think will determine how we use him next season, and his performances for the rest of the season are going to be really important for him and his career.
Okay,
but
my bad.
I have full faith in him. I don't think he's had a bad performance in a Spurs shirt. I think the only thing he's done wrong is being a center back who's playing right back, so his attacking isn't fantastic. But I mean, today in the game, he had more than a few moments where he showed real attacking quality. So, yeah, Bodhi.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. He is 21. That's my bad. But I mean, the point I'm trying to get across is the reason why you say Tanganga is more mature is because he is. He's actually older than them, which is exactly why, he is more mature than them, like you say. So it's just a matter of, I think, just going back to my whole point in the first place. I mean, obviously, it may sound controversial, Tanganga going on loan. Who would have thought me, Bodhi, saying that? But it's like, it's just a thought of, just seeing Skip and Sessegnon, how well they've been doing on loan. It's just, you can't really blame me for thinking that, maybe Tanganga going on loan. You can't really blame me for having at least a thought about it.
Anyhow, I think that is a good point to wrap it up. But thank you for listening. This has been another episode of the One Hotspur podcast. I am Tobey from _Spurs Center, and I was joined by Bodhi and Charlie from Hotspur.industry and CB Design, respectively. Subscribe to our YouTube. We just dropped a new video analyzing whether or not Jose should be sacked, and it was recorded before the Aston Villa game, so if we sound pessimistic, that is why. And follow us on Instagram at One Hotspur Pod. Thank you all. We appreciate you. And come on, you Spurs.